I'm Michael Williams, and I'm Distinguished Visiting Fellow at Chatham House. And one of the areas I cover is Southeast Asia, with a particular reference to Burma. I have a long-standing interest in the country. I first went there in '88 in very difficult times, widespread repression. And I've gone there several times since that. And the paper that we are publishing now reflects very much a round table that we held in Yangon in September 2014. What motivated the paper was the feeling that events had changed so substantially in Burma, Myanmar they call it now, over the past several years. And for decades previously, literally from the 1980s, there had been no change in the country, been a military dictatorship. And then all of a sudden the military began engaging both with the outside world and domestically, and freeing the opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi. So this struck me as such an important story for Chatham House to look at, both in terms of the internal politics of the country, but also the impact on the region and so on. Burma is going to have an election at some point towards the end of this year. And as in any country, when elections come closer, nobody wants to make big changes, because they're thinking, well, how is it going to be after the elections? What is the strength of Party A and of Party B, and so on. So I'm afraid Burma has run out of time before the elections. This is a bit sad in a way, because they made a lot of progress on ceasefires with the minority groups. Ceasefires are virtually with all the groups now. What has failed to happen is any sort of political agreement to make those ceasefires binding. So the election process does leave the ceasefire agreements under some stress, which concerns me. The military are clearly committed to what has happened so far. That was a big decision on their part, beginning in 2011, and all credit has to go to the president on that, President Thein Sein. What is less clear now is how committed are they to the results after the forthcoming elections. Most observers believe that there will be a very strong showing for Aung San Suu Kyi and her party, the NLD, the National League for Democracy. That will not be welcome to many in the army. At the end of the day, some may say, okay, we took this road and we have to live with it. But there are questions. And it also needs to be remembered that this election, which is an enormous step forward, is not entirely free, as most of the world would understand it, with regard to this factor that 25%, 1/4 of the seats in Parliament, are reserved for the army. Now, clearly, if Burma, Myanmar is going to be really democratic, that has to change. And the jury is still out on that.